Hello and welcome into the SorareData Show. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Today talking about what I think ended up actually being the most exciting week in Sorare history. They told us early on this was going to be it. And damn, I think they did it. I think they nailed it. We'll get into all of that in a little bit. Thank you to everybody for coming in. Bob Franklin, first way to be. Malky and Major NFT on the podiums. Happy Friday the 13th. According to Major NFT. Toby said, let's win it all. I agree. I agree. Let's just win it all today or this weekend. ZM Star, congrats to SorareData. I'm sure the cash infusion you guys will keep you guys going. However, kind of sad that it devalues the star membership some. So fun fact, no cash infusion. Nope. And I'm curious why you believe, I assume you are discussing the projected lineups and all of that stuff, and why that devalues a star membership. Anyway, BitHorse, what's up? Kai, thanks for coming in. 93 Acres said, I read HWG as huge weak game. I didn't mean it like that. Sora Soul, to the moon, or wherever they have lightning and essence particles, maybe Jupiter, not to be confused with Jupiler. Shout out to Belgium. Peptetta, what's up? Tom Brins, man, Tom, I had said Brimson correctly so many times in a row, and the streak is over. Tom Brimson, thank you for coming in. Tom said, been on holiday since Monday. Seems like a perfect stream to watch. I agree. Shaforkle, hello. John Andrews, Dream Oblivion. No intro today. Was there no intro? Did it not play? I saw it. That's weird. Did you just like see me staring, waiting for it to start? Anyway, Bogdan, what's up? Braden, George, Scosmo in the house, Mike Basson, there we are. Friday, 5 p.m., pants off, listen to the clean shaven Laird. I think I shaved, it wasn't yesterday, it wasn't today. I can't grow like a really full beard, so it's never going to look that much. CM Star, can free users get projected lineup infos? I've never been a free member, so I assumed it was part of the membership. So projected lineups have always been free on SorareData, and participating in the projected lineups competition has been available to anyone. And so really the value prop of your star membership has not changed at all. ECS, what's up? Ooh, this was Nudney Janik. Hello. Thanks for coming in. Major NFT, thanks to a SorareData star membership, already paid for itself with my wins the last 4 game weeks. Congratulations on your victories. Always love to see that. KB, my classic cards already look so stale compared to the new ones. Don't they? They look so bad. I have an in-season lineup this game week where I have a big head MLS card in it as my one classic card. And man, it looks like I stole it from another like another NFT game. It's crazy. Yeah. Anyway, Toby, what's up? Sora Nils, good evening to you. Red or Dead 69, just Mike it. So, Mike, I saw your, I don't know if I commented on it, but I saw your super rare lineups for this week, and man, they look great. KB said it looks like a different game. Amazing job. Totally agree. It's, I felt really bad for Sorare when the new design leaked on Tuesday, that there were a few like buy now cards that basically were revealed with the new design, and Black bought one, and then it got wrapped after that, which I thought was pretty funny, but it was kind of disappointing because obviously we're all very excited about the new, what the new cards look like. And they kind of leaked like that. I don't think you could see everything. Maybe, can't remember if you could, no, you could flip it, whatever it was. I felt like the initial response to that were some people who were like, I don't like this. I don't like this. Is that really it? I can't. And then the new cards came out and we were all like, wow. Like I think they absolutely nailed them. I really do. And what's funny is I feel like there have been a few people who are saying they actually look less like traditional card, like physical cards, and more like NFT stuff, which is obviously what you can do with these like dynamic backgrounds they have. But I feel like I also saw people saying how they actually do look more like traditional cards. And so generally generally it's positive. Toby said, I still don't think the thick info border, I don't like the thick info border, but everything else I love. I mean, I think it's, so the one thing that throws me off with these cards, and it's not for everyone, is it works. The cards, let me see here. Newest, I'm just trying to pull up my gallery here. So there are some cards where if I think it's everyone that has their arms folded, their body almost looks like it's not centered in the card, but obviously but their heads are. Let me see if I can. Do I even have one? Who has their arms crossed? Maybe I don't have any, and it's fine. Oh well, maybe it's not me, or maybe it's one I don't have. But it basically because they don't take up as much space, there's extra space on basically their left or right. But it's such a small nit to pick that it doesn't ruin the card for me. I think they absolutely nailed them. And I think last year there was kind of some people were kind of complaining with the new cards that there was too much space on the bottom and the position font, which they ended up changing. But I think a lot of those concerns were the 2D version, and these are 3D cards. And I think they ended up we all love them, or not all of us. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think generally people ended up being very positive about the cards last year. And I think so far this year, they look great. I really do. I think they nailed them. And the fact that you can do really cool stuff like this, lightning card that I got for Juninho from Midtjylland, and the back is pretty fresh. I kind of like how thick the cards are, because they kind of, it almost accentuates that they're not just like your standard physical card. Honestly, if anybody from Sorare is watching this, whoever your card design team is, I think they absolutely crushed it. I really do. And I feel like the positivity on the cards is much higher this year than it has been for any other release that I've been a part of. I can't remember if we were all as positive about the Honeycomb cards, which used to be my favorite. I don't remember if people were so positive about them back then, but I think they generally were. And so I think they're great. I really do. I cannot say enough about how good these cards look. Oh, and to go back to the how they look with old classic cards. Where's this lineup that I wanted to pull up here? Because it really does. Here it is. And actually, I took one card out. I didn't even notice that. I ended up putting a Caden Clark in here. But these cards compared to this Brad Stuver, this is how far we've come, and it's great. It really is. It's great. Anyway, sorry, I went on one there. And so Shoshix, thanks for coming in. I have no idea what HWG means, but I can't wait to find out tomorrow when I'll listen to the recording on Spotify. Happy Friday, everyone. Thank you for coming in, at least, and saying it. HWG, here we go. Here we go. Sorsol says the Conan Endry is now Sorare legend. I don't think I would know who that. I mean, I know now it's the first card that leaked, but yeah, maybe I'll remember that name, Conan. What do you got, Z? I'm sorry. I talked about this on Sorare in the States, but I really enjoy the bipolarness of the community. One week, everything is going to hell. The next week, it's the greatest platform ever created. It's really one of my favorite things about the community, to be honest. Bithorse said, it's actually crazy how different the reaction has been to these new cards from last year's cards when the community lost their heads. I will say, oh, I forgot about that. So last year, the new cards came out, but didn't we not get the 3D-ness until for another 2 or 3 weeks? And I think that delay, I don't know if that was on purpose, but the cards ended up looking much nicer. Here's one of them. And we didn't have, when they were just kind of like 2D images. I don't think there was any like light or anything. And we were just like, all right, whatever. And then the 3D came out and everyone's like, whatever. And then they started playing with them and they were like, oh, wait, this is pretty cool. And we got like the first time we saw the backs of cards. And I think they grew on us. And I think these are great. I really do. And we kind of complained about how much space was here. I think it's part are the rookie cards. Do the rookie cards have the rookie emblem down there? I'm trying to think of. I just bought one recently. Oh yeah, so it is like right there. And I do think these rookie cards are really sweet looking. The super rare rookies are awesome. But yeah, like you grew to love it, and I think it's. I think this year it does feel like right away. KB said, "I'd love someday cards with their country flags making the background." Yeah, that's a cool idea. I do think that they did a better job with the new cards of accentuating the flag. Because last year, let me see if I'm sorry, I just like randomly pulled up my gallery here, but like it was really tiny here in the corner, and I kind of like that it's now like a little bigger on the side, within the information. I don't mind this as much as other people. Maybe I actually just like it. I'm trying to see if there are. Okay, so yeah, it's a Sorare logo if they don't have a full league license, and then the team logo. Yeah, no, I think I can't say enough. I really love them. 93 acres. Do you think Sorare will eventually bring the ability to separate essence pools when crafting? Not a clue. Sorare knows would be nice if they use the animation of the card reveal for further rewards. So it's funny you bring that up because Gator Guy is now he's not on a mission, but he's adamant now that all rewards should be wrapped and that you have to like unwrap them. And I think there are a couple other people who like that because then they're like, oh, and we can keep this 10% special edition thing going. And my only feedback on that is that if you have too many special edition cards, then they're not really special. That doesn't mean you shouldn't have any more, and is it like worth doing that if it ends up being like, 1% are special edition? Like, I don't know if but I mean, still we'll end up seeing a bunch because they give out thousands of cards every single game week. But yeah, maybe it's something that they can keep going with. Raul, what's up? Bithorse, do you think they will do something with the back of the card? It looks like it's ready for competitions you won, etc. I do think they will do something on the back. Yes, because I think they've said that before. Just Mike, it said, best cards we've ever had, an amazing promo prior to the card's release. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Dream Oblivion said, I think every new version was positive. I disagree on that. Mike said the Honeycomb cards were the previous version with the least negativity is the nice way to put it. And Sorosol said the Honeycombs are still the best rookies. I agree. Those rookies are really nice. Wonder if I have. Surely I have one. I say that so confidently. I have no idea if I have one. Collectible? Is that how? Card edition? There we go. Rookie. Let's see what rookies I have. Oh yeah, these. Oh my God, I forgot like the best card on the platform. Yeah, I agree that these are really cool. And this is the first time we saw kind of this little like holographic part of a card. Yeah, those are sweet. You're right. Let's see. Zoras Apfelbury. Maybe. Can future cards also be animated, or was that just the early release cards? I mean, they can do whatever they want. Because, yeah, why not? Mike said, I thought the title was going to reveal Maxime's middle name. That's a good one. I don't know what it is. Let's see. KB said, I am neurodiverse and get dizzy when I look at them too long. I think you can turn it off. Major NFT said, I can't wait to have a full animated team collection. That sounds expensive, but we'll see. Okay. Oops, sorry, Is it true that we could get, Sorahan says, is it true we would get info about Soracoins in the next week? So it's not necessarily next week. So the correction we got from Paul was it maybe sometime in September? We should have one by this month, sometime this month. Yeah. John said it's so refreshing seeing positivity from pretty much everyone during an international break, no less. Agreed. Positivity is fun for me. MLS Solar Scout finally bit the bullet and bought a rare classic Messi, hoping I get to see him live this Wednesday finally. So I believe I'm going to the New York City FC Inter Miami game a week from tomorrow. And I hope Messi plays in that one. And I feel like if he plays Wednesday, he's not going to come to New York, but we'll see. Sora Turkey said Rivals has been updated with the new pictures, which is fun. Brian Dino, I get dizzy when looking at the gallery value rather than the cards. You can hide it. You can hide it. The commons look great, to be honest, says Toby. Let me look. Oh, I should play Rivals, actually. Speaking of Rivals. How are they not telling me to go play my Norwegian Kings right away? Oh, because they don't have cards. That's why. Anyway. So yeah, was it Monday even when they told us like, hey, this is going to be the greatest week ever. And we were like, that doesn't mean a whole lot. And then they did the Mbappé thing and everybody was like, oh, that's cool. So that's it. That's the biggest thing ever. And no, it wasn't. No, it was card reveals. The Mbappé competition is kind of a cool one. Nellis's video with Mbappé seems to be getting a lot of chatter. Mbappe's wearing a Sora rival shirt. There are Mbappé ads all over Paris, which I feel like is probably already heavily advertised for Sorare, and then maybe they should try somewhere else. But I'm not a marketing or advertising guru, so don't take my advice from that, to be honest. But yeah, I think Quinny, what's up? Thanks for coming in. I think they were right. I think this was the biggest week in Sorare history, and now here we go. Now we're just ready to play Sorare like we've been preparing for the last few months. It feels like finally, although I say that and I still have a number of cards that couldn't be unwrapped. And so sorry, Shaforkal, I don't know what you're talking about in the chat, and I'm not sure I'm not sure I want to even know. Anyway, Mike said Sorare 2.1. It could be 3.0. It feels like now we're like, okay, we got the early access out of the way, and we now have all of our cards. They look better than ever, and there's some excitement around the platform. There's this Mbappé special that a lot of people are that anybody's able to compete in. And yeah, it generally feels like there's some positivity, which came after a time where people were not so positive because of the classic is dead and all that. And we can kind of, not that I feel like we have to move on from that, but we can move on from that now. And yeah, let's like start playing the game. Let's go. And while we continue to kind of be guinea pigs about the game and making sure it works, it does feel like it's a more sustainable game, a more sustainable platform, which I know a lot of people don't think we should care about, which is both hilariously wrong, but also maybe there's someone's right about it, because no matter how much we worry about sustainability of the platform, and when we mean sustainability, of the platform, it's a combination of we want to make sure our cards don't go to zero, but also we just want to keep playing the game. And I think Nepenthes has said it kind of a number of times on his videos that he really likes the platform. And so do I. And obviously, like, my livelihood kind of depends on it. So maybe I'm in a little bit of a different spot. But I think there are obviously like tens of thousands of people who regularly enjoy this game, if not every day, then twice a week, turning into once a week. But it just feels like it's something that a lot of people enjoy. And so the whole like idea of thinking about sustainability is just like, hey, I would really like this thing that I enjoy a lot to continue. And it feels like, based on what I talked about with Guy and Tolga earlier this week from Sorare, that they feel like it's in a more sustainable place now, which obviously has to be positive for them because they actually work for Sorare. And so it's great. I think it's great. And hopefully the this kind of in-season classic split of um, of how to play and how you can play this game continues, because I feel like we're all kind of used to it now, at least those of us who have been around. And frankly, the ones of us who have been around for a long time probably had the hardest time adjusting. But this game they may as well have made this game week one, now that we have all of our early access cards. We look at them. Obviously, we could play them before, but there's just like increased excitement about the game that I don't want to say is like a long time coming, but it's nice that people now feel like comfortable to like talk about how much they like the game instead of just complaining about it. Ryan said it's a great game. Once people start it, there's not many that leave. We're basically a sports mafia. So actually, one of the things that came up, and we didn't really go into depth about it, mostly because I wasn't sure they were going to tell me that much. But Guy made a comment that they are not having as much kind of user turnover than maybe they had expected, and newer users are kind of sticking around a little longer. And you're right. Once you're involved in the game, you want to stay. Like, that's not a bad thing. The game is fun enough that you want to keep going, and you accept the challenge of trying to win. And even if it's not necessarily going out and trying to win first place every week, maybe it's just fighting to get a box, fighting to get promoted, all of those little things, fighting to get any sort of cash payout. There are so many ways that you can look at this game and find a path to have fun with it. And it does feel like there are more people doing that, including those who are actually playing the game at a significantly suboptimal way. But because they want to be able to say, like, I want it this way, they can have fun doing that, even if they're not winning consistently. Major NFT said the game is great. I wish the progression to better cards was faster. It's actually very fast. You can deposit money like that. Mike said, I saw Sorare staff mimic Sean with Tolga and Paul saying it was an investment, but also not an investment. I don't think that they use the term investment like other people do. But I also thought it was funny that Tolga said that like rare cards were not that cheap, because, man, some of them are dirt cheap. Like, multiple people reached out to me about that line, which was funny. But I do thank them tremendously for coming on. And some of the comments on the video and some of the comments that people have made to me privately about that is it's just nice hearing from people directly on Sorare, or directly from Sorare, excuse me, because we do kind of get a lot of partial messages or sometimes sarcastic responses or replies with half answers on Twitter or Discord. And those end up being, I think, more problematic than helpful. Now, I'm sure there are plenty of helpful comments in those mediums, but just being able to get more of an insight into what they think or what the feedback that they got was. And I don't think it's necessarily something that they need to do every day or every week, but it is nice for them to, like, I don't even want to say regularly come on, because there is a lot of the analysis of Sorare of how to make the platform better. And that's not like what we should be doing as users, but what they do as employees of Sorare is either a change is implemented or they consider a change and they talk to users or potential users if they'd be interested in it. And then if they do implement a change, like you need to have a little time to see how users react and the data that goes behind that. And so having like, I know a lot of people talk about wanting like more content directly from Sorare, but I don't think it's realistic to have like a weekly stream or podcast from people on Sorare about what they're working on, because ultimately a lot of what they're doing is waiting for data. And I'm not saying that they're like sitting around their office for a month just like doing nothing, but a lot of like major things that they're analyzing, they just have to wait. And not to say that they're not working on other things in the meantime, but it would be just kind of weird to have like a weekly, this is what we worked on this week meeting from Sorare. Like we don't need to know that. And like you may be curious and some users genuinely think they deserve that update, but we don't need it. And that's not me saying like, oh, don't do that. Come on my show instead, because like it doesn't matter where they do it. But the way that we get a lot of information from them is not in this longer form. And again, it's just really nice to have that. And I don't think I'm going to like pat myself on the back here. So like, please, don't think I'm just trying to get this one by you. I completely know that I'm doing this. But when Sorare announced like all the big changes and they were like, oh, and we're going to have like Sorare employees on community podcasts and streams or whatever to talk about everything. Like I reached out to them because it was like, I'm one of these community podcasts. Could you please have somebody on? And they were like, who would you like to have on? And that wasn't like, you can have whoever you want, but I did want to talk about the gameplay. And I'd spoken to Guy previously anyway. And so given his role, I was like, it seems like Guy makes sense. And this was somewhat shortly after the new lobby came out. And I was like, I would love to have one of your designers come on and just talk about what they saw from the old lobby that needed to be changed, or what they saw from feedback that they felt like needed to be addressed, and like kind of why they designed everything as they did. And my thought process initially was to literally like have them open the lobby and just being like, tell me how to use this, because the way that something is designed is hopefully very very easy to understand, and kind of once you do it, you know what to do. And I don't think that the lobby is super intuitive yet, which is a problem for new users. Like you want it to be intuitive. It's also kind of a pain for power users to put in a lot of lineups. So the idea, at least, was giving them the keys to this screen share and just being like, show me how you think people use the lobby. And once we started kind of going into the conversation, that didn't feel like it was the appropriate time for that. And I think Tolga kind of explained a lot of it, of what feedback they got and kind of how they think, not how they think, based on the data that they have of how new users are playing the game and whatnot. This is why we put the competitions. This is why we clone them from week to week. And it was I thought it was really, really helpful, if not for any of you guys, for me to hear their thought process to design and usability. And it made more sense. But I also sat there the entire time thinking, I don't use the lobby anyway. Like I just go to SorareData and I export my lineups, and I'm the user type that is made for that process. And so I apologize if I like missed something obvious in the discussion. Obviously it wasn't like a full it wasn't a live stream at all. And so we couldn't like go to the live chat if I missed something, but I don't think like nobody's followed up with a ton of questions. And so I don't think we missed anything, but if we did, like I would love to have those guys back on. I will be completely honest. Ever since I started working at SorareData, I have I've basically have a significant enthusiasm for learning about design, not for me to design myself, but it's just so much more than I ever really thought was included in it. Like design to me always was just like, yeah, just make it look nice. And like the two designers that we have at SorareData, Aurelian and Vasson, like they're brilliant. And while they do make things look really good, they spend a lot of time on trying to figure out if everything is built or fits in a way that both makes sense for the user and makes sense from a technical standpoint. And so that not only do you go to our tools and say, wow, this looks really nice, but it's easy to use and I get it. And I understand why this is here. And if I wanted something else, maybe it's here. And that's the idea. And I don't feel like we ever got that insight from inside Sorare. And so Togo coming on and being able to tell us like, yes, we got feedback from that. And even going as far as telling us kind of who they go after in terms of feedback, I think was really, really helpful. And like, hopefully that's not the last time that we'll talk to Tolga, because I thought just everything about that experience and hearing how they look at things was really great. And particularly with the way that they work, obviously, with the game team, with the game designers and all of those who work in product, because, it's not like this is what you need. This is what it looks like. Go build it. Like they obviously work together quite a bit. And so actually having both of them on, Guy and Tolga, together was really nice because, you could get this is what we were considering from the game design perspective. And then Tolga's like, well, from a design look, like usually users want this. And I loved it. And not to forget that the Inter shirt that Tolga wore was just absolute fire. And if you guys haven't watched that, it's on the SorareData channel. I highly, highly recommend it. I will admit that some previous Sorare employee appearances on any podcasts or streams, including on this channel, like sometimes you kind of leave and you're just like, all right, I didn't really get much out of that. I think there was a lot that came out of that conversation. And like I said, if you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend it. ECS said, what I liked the most in your conversation with them was them acknowledging some aspects and them saying they're looking into it. They could have just avoided the question subject and it felt good. I agree. Now, again, there are some things that we all have questions about that like maybe they just can't answer. Whether it's like that's a legal issue or we're deep into negotiations on that, and so it wouldn't be right to like publicly say something about it. But it is just helpful to hear them say like, we hear you and we're addressing it. Or yes, we know this is an issue and we're going to do that. Or just the opposite, we didn't know that was a problem. So thank you for sending that along. And just kind of an acknowledgement of feedback, which some people get on Twitter with sarcastic comments, which I think they're just not helpful. Yeah. And so I think this medium was great. Lairdinho said, it'd be interesting to hear what the Sorare ideal price point is for various cards. Do they want £1,000 rare Mbappe or 5K? I would guess they don't have targets like that. Like I don't think they do it on a per card basis. I think obviously they want to sell as many cards as possible. And if they could sell as many cards as if they could sell every card for like the most that you could theoretically sell it for, like they would want to do that. And so I don't think that's bad, but I'm not sure they have like specific, like what can we do in our gameplay to make sure that a rare Mbappe never drops below £1,000? Like, I'm not sure that's the healthiest way to build a platform like this. ECS said, also, what I really like about Sorare now is that there are 3 huge entities working together, Sorare, creators, and the community. It feels like a healthy cycle that goes on to improve with each iteration. Agreed. Agreed. Major NFT said it was cool to know they had beta testers. Would love to be on that UX selection. I feel like they've had beta testers for a while, but ultimately, you don't want to get stuck with the same people, because you don't want that small group of people kind of making decisions for everyone. I'm not saying like making decisions, but if you use like the same 10 people, let's say 10, for all of your things, then eventually like the site is just built for those 10 people, if that makes sense. So yeah. Mike Basson, how did the new playing percentage update begin? Did Sorare come to SorareData or vice versa? I don't know. I don't know, actually. Like, I wasn't involved in any of that, so I don't know who went to who. ZM Star said it was a trade for the button. I don't think it was a trade for the button. Like, we surely wanted the button. But so the we wanted the button, like we wanted it as users. Like being able to provide it as a SorareData tool, like obviously because like we use SorareData, but like we were very passionate of, we don't want to spend this much time clicking individual cards into lineups every single game week. Like we want those hours back. And so like, yes, we wanted the button to be like a big feature for SorareData, but as Sorare managers ourselves, the button is very important. And I like tweeted the thing today, like I did 36 lineups in 34 seconds. And it was like, man, I didn't make the lineups. I've been working on the lineups all week, but being able to put them on SorareData, so from SorareData to Sorare in 35 seconds is like, man, it was awesome. Super Totoro said, I do think they need to work on the progression from one scarcity up to the next, i.e. classic comps that can maybe win the next scarcity up, or comps similar to how Rare Plus was. I actually, that's interesting, because I don't know if that's the progression anymore. And that is something that we've talked about, and we actually haven't talked about it for a while, but there was a difference between vertical progression and horizontal progression. And this goes back all the way to like when we still had Champion America, and Champion Asia, and Challenger Europe. And it was a lot of the, once you have your Champion America lineup, rare lineup, let's say, or limited, whatever, do you then go to Champion America rare? And do you want to progress that way, stay with the cards that you know, or the region that you know, and progress up? Or is the next step, oh, maybe I'll try Challenger, or maybe I'll try Champion? And it did feel like it's been for a while that Sorare is kind of, I don't want to say it's built for this, but it's easier for managers to progress horizontally so that you have more lineups in the same scarcity. And I think that it kind of makes sense to do that more often than just moving up in scarcity. And particularly with the way that the non-champion competitions work now, that you can play year round, that it's not even simple enough now to be like, oh, I'll just have my PSV stack for Challenger. Like you used to be able to do that for Challenger Europe, and there were very, very few competitions and teams playing, or excuse me, there were very few teams playing in the summer in Challenger. Shout out to Norway. But I think the path now is to go wider. And so I actually don't think that built-in steps to go from limited to rare or rare to super rare are as needed. And not to say that like they shouldn't be encouraging people to move up in scarcities, but I think that from a practicality standpoint, it's easier for even the users to say, all right, I have 3 in-season Challenger lineups. I have 3 classic season Challenger lineups in limited. Let me go to Champion. Maybe some of my guys transferred to Champion lineups and I can do that. Or the other way, some of them left Challenger and went to Contender, and it's like, let's build those out. And the amount of time that it takes most users to expand to all of them. Like if you want to do contender, challenger, champion, Prem, La Liga, Bundesliga, like if the idea is to get all of those to have in-season and classic entries, 3 entries each, moving up to rare, like it's a long time before you can move up to rare. And that's not to say that you shouldn't move up to rare kind of in the middle of that or early on, but it doesn't feel like that's the path anymore. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Like you end up getting more cards, and yes, you'll end up paying less for those cards, but I actually think you're more likely to like spend more on more limited cards than you are on like a selection of rares as you work your way up. It was a really long answer for what seemed like a pretty simple question. It wasn't even a question, actually, as I look back. Lairdinho feels more like before that they recognize areas of difficulty for them, different strategy per scarcity, and where their opportunities are, more links with SorareData. I think to be completely honest, I think the collaborations between SorareData and Sorare probably benefit SorareData more. Like Sorare doesn't necessarily need us to do stuff. Well, maybe they do. I don't know. But I think it's great that they're working with us more, because there was a time where they kind of didn't. I'll put it that way. But Ryan, what you said about the fact that they're recognizing that like different scarcities may require different strategies, I think was really, really, really important to hear about. And clearly they have no like quick solution to the super rare issue, and maybe there's a unique issue. I don't know what it is. Although Pranksy actually tweeted about it today, maybe it was yesterday, in response to the Mbappé unique auction. But it was great to hear that they're like, okay, they are very different, and so they need to figure out different ways to attack those problems. Unfortunately for people like me with a ton of super rares, and not to, don't feel bad for me because I have super rares, but it's clearly not going to be like at the top of their priority list. Like making the experience better for limited and rare users should be, because there's so many more, and newer users are more likely to be those rare and limited users. Let's see. KB said, sorry, I'm a little behind on the chat, so I may have said this already. Progression upwards isn't the destined progress it once was. It headed in the direction of progressing horizontally instead of vertically, and there's plenty of room to expand. Yeah. I guess I should have just read that instead of gone on for 5 minutes. Major NFT say acknowledging feedback is almost the most important thing. I agree. And not to say that they've like ignored feedback. I don't spend much time in the Sorare Discord, and I know that like the feedback channel is probably red hot every single day. And I'm also guessing it's a lot of like copied suggestions. Like I can't fathom how many results you would get if you searched like the word burn in the feedback channel. But acknowledging something on Discord, just like, yeah, we hear you, is different than what, like when Guy and Tolga are literally in front of us and saying either we've thought about that and we're working on it, or we didn't know that was an issue. And so, yeah, it was agreed. Footy Wuddy, what's up? Thank you for coming in. And somebody else just, Pro Stevo. Hello. MLS Source Scout said, I assume they focus more on revenue and velocity of card sales rather than average price, and the market will decide that. Velocity of card sales that is a very cool phrase. Major NFT, the button is the best value, did 40 lineups myself. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I used the button last game week for 3 lineups. Investor Dur said, Sorare or 4 games in one. You select the one you like the most based on your budget, and that's it. I think it's way more than 4, to be honest. Toby said, definitely building out wider. Exported 36 lineups from SorareData, training included, and I'm only playing limited. There are a lot of lineups you can make. Like we're seeing, like at this point, we are literally seeing hundreds of people with. Before I say that, I didn't update it for this game week, but we are getting to the point where there are. I guess we could go back to the conversation of what constitutes hundreds. So 275 is 275 considered hundreds? And then I'll go back to then I'll answer that question. But guys, breaking news. I just got a new card and I hit 750 points on my original Midgeland collection. We did it. 5% on these goats. I don't even have that many cards. But thank you. I don't remember who the user was. Thank you to CK $ can sell all for this Frederick Heiselberg 1 of 100 that I just probably paid 10x the price, the value for. But anyway, since nobody's answered me about whether 275 is hundreds. Oh, I'm sorry. KB said by definition it is hundreds. Anything more than 199 is hundreds. Great. So there are hundreds of users who are submitting at least 50 lineups in weekend game weeks. That's a lot of lineups. And I think there are like a dozen. I don't know if it's dozens or dozen. I'll go look it up. Hold on. Doing over 100. Which when you think of it is just a lot of lineups. John said it took some getting used to and required making some gallery changes, but I wouldn't want to go back to the old format now. This game just makes much more sense. Nailed it. ZM Star said width does make more sense now with multi-entry, classic, and in-season. Yep. All right, hold on. Let me see here. So game week last weekend. Right, last weekend was a full weekend? No, it wasn't. It was oh, wait, sorry. That was international. All right, hold on. So what game week are we up to now? 9. So game week 7-5, I guess. There were 9 users who submitted over 100 lineups, highlighted by Nanzo at 132 and Pranksy at 131. So that, I'm guessing, is both very horizontal and very vertical. John said playing in season after playing fully classic feels like the old step up from rare to rare plus. Huh. That's interesting. So actually, I'll go into that. Let me catch up. Hold on. Somebody, where was that? John, I'm going to keep this on the screen so I don't forget it just in case. But I just want to go back to the chat. They make... Ricomon said, did I misunderstand? I was expecting a classic Champions League comp. I thought they did too. Let me go to this. So this rare to rare plus. So there was a card that I found a few weeks ago that I wanted, and the classic card was very cheap. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with part of my strategy for Sorare, it's that I like to acquire multiple versions of the same player. So I'll have like a rare and a limited, or a super rare and a rare of not every player that I get, but there are a lot of them that I try to get multiple versions of, so that when the things line up correctly, I can play them in multiple spots. And so I don't know if it's a lazy way to play or if it's actually, I haven't done it long enough to decide if it is optimal or not. And frankly, the benefit of Sorare is that I can play it forever and I'm never really wrong until I'm right. And so that's nice. But I bought a classic version of this player's card and was like, should I get the super rare? And instead of getting the super rare, I bought the in-season version of that player. And it was like, all right, maybe the idea is like, I'll play the same lineup in, like I used to think maybe I'll play the same lineup in super rare, classic. It wasn't even classic or in season back then. It was like, do I play the same lineup in classic, rare, and limited and just see what happens? And obviously the higher scarcity you go, it should be easier to win. So like if that lineup smashes in limited, like surely it's smashed in rare and super rare, but it doesn't trickle down. If it smashes in super rare, there are probably other lineups in rare and limited that have been better. But anyway, so then it was like, all right, maybe I'll run the same lineups in rare, classic, and rare in season. And then I was like, maybe I should do this in limited too. I haven't really done it in limited. I think I've mostly focused on in-season limited this year, with the idea that those will be classic next year. But so I used to think like progressing up to the super rare so I can get, and it was always much harder for me to run the same lineups in limited, rare, and super rare because I had pretty good rare cards. I had better limited cards in terms of the players. And then obviously getting those same players in super rare was like super expensive. Like it was prohibitively expensive. And then it was like, do I make suboptimal rare lineups just to make them the same as my super rares? And so it's taken some time to do this, but it does feel like the progression now is just that. It's not going from rare to super rare. It's going from classic to in season, and then maybe super rare if you want to move up scarcities. Investor, do you think each scarcity should have its own ecosystem? Or for instance, limited funds raised from sales should be used for super rare prize pools? I actually don't think they should be separated in that respect. No. Like I think it's like, here's the revenue, here's how much we can pay out, and let's figure out the best way to pay it out from there. So like I don't think that like limited, that the revenue from limited cards should be the limited prize pool. Obviously not exactly, but like should be part of it. Because if that was the case, they would probably just stop making uniques and super rares. But at the same time, like during Threshold, like the money they made from rare cards was like a minuscule compared to how much they were paying out in thresholds for rare, which is probably why it doesn't exist anymore. KB said it's individuals spending money versus masses that spend money. Obviously, you got to cater to the masses, even if it's bad for the individual big spenders. I mean, I think obviously they're trying to do both. They want to make it worthwhile for people who spend a lot of money to do that on Sorare. And some people do. Goose said, good evening. How do you feel about, in my opinion, mistake-prone prediction service going to global Sorare, where people don't know that the prediction should be taken with a grain of salt? I think, like, I'm assuming you're asking, why are SorareData projections now on Sorare? It was a functionality and a tool that Sorare thought benefited their users. I'm not here to say whether they should or not. Goose said, I'm not saying the predictions are horrible, by the way, just not perfect in my opinion. You'll never find perfect predictions. I will admit that some of them on SorareData are wildly wrong, and it frustrates the hell out of me. But it also really frustrates me when it frustrates me when I see feedback of like, they're awful, they're always wrong, and it's just not true. Like, do we get some wrong? Absolutely. Absolutely. And guess what? We're working on changing it because of those instances. Like, we understand that people get used to having like one person say like, yes, this player is 25% to start and this one is 35% and this one's 65%. And if any of them start, I'm right or wrong. But it's just not how we do it. And I don't know if that's something that needs to be on Sorare. I mean, for baseball, they just started doing player projections or using RotoWire player projections on site. And I don't know. I don't know if that's something that should be on the site or not. I know I don't use them. I mean, I use the RotoWire projections. I don't do it on Sorare. I just do it on SorareData. Same with line projections. Like I just look to see, and there are times where like I look at SorareData line projections and I know they're wrong. But I can't like go contact all of our specialists and being like, hey, you might want to look at this one again. And I also do think that a lot of people look at them too early in the week on SorareData and immediately complain. And one of the things that is very different for when they'll be on Sorare is that they won't be there that early. Like it'll only be until later. But again, I think there's also some misunderstanding about how they're used. And so, or how they're, not they're used, how they are, like how they're presented versus how they are. Like people see 90% on Sorare, and they were like, yeah, but that means 100% on SorareData. And it doesn't mean that that there's 100% chance they start. And no matter how many times we say that and we describe it and we explain it, like there are enough people who just continue to be like, this player was 75% to start on SorareData and he didn't start. And so you were wrong. And when you hear like, actually, that was only 75% confidence, we didn't have 100% confidence. And they're like, yeah, you said 75% to start. So that's certainly more like, that's on me also to make sure that like the message gets out that people understand how these work. But also we're making some changes fairly soon that I think will make it much, much easier for everyone. Eagle C. I'm sure there's a better way to say it. I apologize since I have no idea how to say this. But anyway, with the introduction of in-season and multi-entry, they're tackling the too many cards issue. They also remove licenses of teams that aren't desired for the same goal. I think these are needed changes. I agree. Toby said, that reminds me I should get an in-season Hergoda so that I can double up Hergoda Green, both classic and in-season. I tried to do this week, Toby, and I was like, man, his price just keeps going up. Mike said, I'm not wrong until I'm right is a line I'm going to use going forward. I like that. Mike, I've used that for years. Like I think that was actually a DFS thing, that there were people who just like you, or even like sports betting. Like you make all of these really, really, really bad bets, but you have the same process and then it hits one day and you're like, see, I was right. So all those people who said I was wrong, I wasn't just wrong, or I wasn't wrong. I just wasn't right yet. And now I'm right. Major NFT said, I still think it's nice to get rares as a top prize and limited and one scarcity up because it can help you level up, or you can sell for funds to keep going across a scarcity. Like this actually is exactly why I don't think they need to do it, because you're just asking for a bigger reward. Like you're not actually like or you can just sell it. Like just say you want more, like a more expensive reward for winning. Because I don't think it actually helps leveling up at all. And that comes from somebody who took forever to start playing super rare, which I think is kind of an intended result. But like the number of people that, you buy your first super and it just takes so long to get the next one. And even if you win one, it usually is not a stepping stone to the next one. And so I think that comes off more of just like, I want bigger rewards in limited or wherever it is by getting the higher scarcity. It's not actually like very few people will take that reward and actually progress. And as somebody who like, I won a competition once where I got a scarcity above and it was completely worthless because they're not giving great rewards for that. Now they did used to do that in Specialist, and everyone I know that like won rare cards from Specialist Limited already played rare anyway. So it actually had nothing to do with progression at all. It was just, oh, great, I have another card here. And so it's a really tough balance because you don't want to give like great rewards and a scarcity to the scarcity below. Because if you can do that, just give them to the people who are already playing that scarcity. CM Star said, perfect example is Andre Blake. Yesterday morning was 100% to start. Injury news dropped and he fell to 30% quick by this morning. I mean, that should have. He should have been 100% to start yesterday before any news came out. Andy said, predictions are great to be on the platform. It's great for casual and new users. I won't hear otherwise. All right, so nobody talked to Andy about it. John said, but the line of predictions on Sorare, I just like seeing dark green under all my players. At first glance, it looks like every one of my players smashed. Oh, that's nice. Bring the green back. Goose said they are not always wrong. Most of the time they are right, but they can be wrong. Of course. I fully understand that while looking at them, but it's still frustrating to see 100% on someone who is unlikely to play. I totally agree with that as well. Or the other side, seeing somebody at 45%, you're like, I know he's going to play. Oh, Zam started. Yeah, I see. So Blue Tomatoes, like I actually don't know what the differences are. Like I don't know what Sorare necessarily show. It seems to me from what I've seen from my own cards is that if somebody is showing as 100% on SorareData, which means that we have confidence in the people who have previously been the best projectors of lineups. So we believe that they know what's coming. Does it work every time? No, obviously not. But the 100% means that we have a high confidence level of their projection. And if their projection is start or sit, whatever it is, we are trusting that based on the fact that they have gotten 85 to 95% of their previous projections right, that they're right this time, then you'll see 100% on our site. And I think you're going to see 90% on Sorare, which I think they're presenting as that this player is 90% likely to start, which is fine. I think that's actually that's what a lot of people tend to use. Like if you even look at local media sources, like this player is 60% to start, which I don't even want to have this discussion whether that's actually helpful or not. But I think people are used to that, and SorareData is different. And so they're just like, hey, how come? And you're like, it's literally apples to oranges. And people just don't want to acknowledge that. ECS says, it feels like they don't want to show 100%, which makes sense because no one is 100% ever. I think that's right. But also we show 100%, but it's not that they're 100% likely to start. Wistomania said, Disassi had 71%, which I found very different from SorareData. I don't think we've ever shown 71%. Let's see here. When did Chelsea play? Oh, Paderborn already conceded. Unbelievable. Let's see. Let's go to Disassi. When do they play? Tomorrow, probably. I don't know why. So this is also something that you guys can do on your own. If you go to the actual game, there's Chelsea. You can see, although I should go back to, here we go. 71%. Wow. 62 guesses for start. 34, 71. 71 of our, no, it wouldn't be maybe 6 of our top 9. No, that doesn't make sense either. 7 of 9 is not right. I don't know. Blue Tomatoes said, I have to say I like the 100% on SorareData more because everything under 100%, I know I have to double check, but you could argue the same for 90%. I agree with you on that. And I think that's sort of the point, that anything less than 100%, you should actually do some research on it. But not everybody wants to do that. John Andrews said 71% is absurd. I have him at 72%, which is fair. Yeah, you're probably more right. Maybe we had 71.4%. So pretty close to you. ECS said, I feel like it makes sense to be 100% on SorareData, but it also makes sense not to be 100% on Sorare. Yeah, totally agree with you on that one. Yeah. Yep. Yep. I also thought it was funny that I saw multiple people be like, this shouldn't be on fantasy sites. Like FPL doesn't do this. And like FPL absolutely does it. Like very clearly, if somebody is not fully fit, they're like, oh, slight knock, 75% to start. There you go. There we go. Schaffelberg was 100% until his wife gave birth. I'm betting he's not playing. I don't know that one. But yeah, so actually, let me go back because this is what you guys like. If you're curious or you just want to go back, I'm going back to game week 506. That was the last time we had like club comps. Yeah. So you can just go in after the match. And this is like if you look up a player's score and you like want to look more details at the actual scores. If you scroll down, not everybody, you know what, I'm going to go through all of this because I don't know if everybody knows this. But anyway, you have all of your players here. You can just click on goats like Dwight McNeil and find out like all of his stats and whatnot. You can also scroll down. We have the game summary, this live action updates throughout the game, the team stats. But below it are the lineup projections. And you can see that I was right on Jordan Pickford getting my 1 point. But you can go in and specifically see that like, so Branthwaite, oh no, that one was right. Sorry. So where were we wrong? Ashley Young, that was 50%. Oh, that's not. I'm sorry that here we go. So like, well, Decore wasn't 71% for us. So that's 71 again. But he actually was on the bench. So you can see that it was wrong. And if you're somebody who does a lot of the projections, like it'll show you the points that you get. But you can look back and be like, this is where we were wrong. And so when people, so here's one. Njai was 29% and he ended up starting. So like the experts were wrong on this one. But like you can go back and look. KB, yes, the projections are locked at the Sorare deadline. And so you can go back and be like, you know, because I've had people be like, SorareData was totally wrong on this. And I go back here and I'm like, if you look, like we weren't. This locks as soon as the game week does. And so like Ryan Christie here, 86%. Like if you saw that, you could just go somewhere else and be like, does Christie have an injury? I don't know anything about Ryan Christie. But like, did he have an injury? No, all right. Maybe I guess he should start. Like that's usually enough. Or like Kepa, and you do all of the research of who was going to start, like as long as it's not 100%. And I'm not saying that the 100% ones are right all the time, because they're definitely not. But anything that's like below it is worth looking into. And I think, was it Mike Baston said the Pallavicino effect? Like I have an Augustine Pallavicino, and he was like 45% to start on SorareData. And I was just like, this doesn't make, like, there's no reason for him not to start. And I couldn't find anything about an injury. And so I was like, I'm jamming him in. But it at least gave me the opportunity to say like, oh, not everybody. Oh, perfect. Yeah, Goose, you're right. So yeah, Zinc was supposed to be, Zinc was 100% on SorareData. Why can't I? This is I wonder if I gotta go. Does this bring me to oh, it does. Sweet. Where's Zinc? There he is. I bet I even voted for Zinc to start. I did. I think the expectation through today was that, so like Toby says Zinc should never have been 100%. Toby, like, you know that there were plenty of people who thought he would start this game week. That doesn't mean he was like locked in to start. But we know, like, we are in the same Discord of people who are like, yeah, he could definitely start. And then there was the whole like, oh, maybe he'll come off the bench. Oh, he's not ready to play full 90. Can he even play 75 minutes? Enough people are like, I think he starts and comes off early. And so, and Goose said he had never started before. He's been there for like 3 games. So like, and it was before the international break. He was hurt. Like, so Toby's like, just saying he shouldn't be 100%. Like, again, everyone who has previously had very good projections from I assume we do the entire league in Norway. But Toby said he was very much 50-50 to start, maybe slightly above to be fair. Right. And so just the way that ours works, if you think he's going to start, you have to say that he's going to start. And enough of our specialists were like, yeah, I think he's going to start. That doesn't mean he's going to play 45 minutes, 90 minutes, 60, whatever it is. They thought he was more likely to start. And none of them thought otherwise. Because if they did, he wouldn't have been 100%. But then I also say maybe more people should be submitting to these if they think they know, and it'll help that percentage. Toby, I know you know how it works, but I'm just explaining to other people why. Wismania said the Disasi 71% is a prime example. Absolutely no one besides the manager knows who's starting tomorrow. Could be Caicedo right back, Fofana, Cucurella. Yeah, we know it's not Malo Gusto. Goose, I wasn't taking this as you attacking me or SorareData, don't worry. But I appreciate that is a flaw in the system. I agree. But I also, so this is, and Zinc is probably the perfect example, even though I should ignore it. Not ignore it, but I as somebody who I should be sweeping that under the rug, because I'm someone who gets incredibly frustrated at seeing lineup projections that have somebody at 60% or 70 or whatever the percentage is, and basically taking credit on either side if it's not 90%. With the whole see, I told you there was a risk, or yeah, I said he was 60% to start and he started. If we had Zinc at 55% or 45%, then we're right either way. Oh yeah, see, there was a risk, or nobody knows. The fact that it was 100, yeah, I guess I should see how many people actually projected that. Let me see. Yeah, so and this is actually one that I go back to, because I wonder if you guys feel like this is better or worse. And we've discussed this ad nauseum in SorareData. So this isn't something new that we're considering. But we show 100% here because we have enough of our experts to think that he's going to start. If you hover over this, you can see that 56 people, which includes the people who we consider as league specialists, 56 of them say he's going to start. 15% of people said he wouldn't. Do you find it more valuable to see that? To see the percentage of people who say he's going to start? Now, we make that change, and now basically nobody's 100%, because we're not going to have full agreement on somebody. Maybe we will. But also that leads to a number of people who are negatively spamming it. And we've seen that before, people marking players who are clearly going to start as out, and then we have to remove them from it. But it's more likely to be manipulated than using a composite of the 10 best people that we've had. Yeah, and Zinc's going to get 2 decisives off the bench, so it doesn't matter. Agreed. Can we get a lineup projection overview on the mobile app? We need to click each line to see. And on the lineup builder, can we have in-season button, not in the menu like on Sorare? So the lineup projection stuff we are trying to get on the mobile app. I will say it's actually quite easy. If you know who's going to start, it's quite easy to do the mobile app, putting projections on our mobile website. I was clicking through to the Racing one. Oh, let me take this part off. Hold on. And you can just, why can't I? Come on. There we go. That's pretty easy to just click through and put all of your projections in. But I will say that SorareData mobile browser is not great. That's why we did that. Furpo said, usually SorareData is delayed by 1 to 2 days on shorter term news. Still a great prediction tool overall. I don't think it's actually delayed. I think it's that there are some people who put projections in earlier in the week, and it's actually our specialists who don't until later in the week when more news is done. And so that's why there's usually a change. Blue Tomato said, I think the league specialist system is the best. I don't know if it's the best. JPH assist. Let's go. Sorry. I don't know if it's the best, but we think it is. Like, we think that if you can get 10 people who are 85 to 95% accurate is better than one person. But maybe we're wrong. Can you do a toggle to see the way it is now, but also toggle on the ratio instead of hovering? That's like, technically, I believe, extremely difficult. Like, there are a lot of things that people are like, just do that. Just remove pick scores, or just remove projected line from pick scores. And it's just not that easy. It's just a lot of calculation. Toby, foremost Mendy bench, what percentage was he? Let's see. For Lorient, when do they play? Is this going to work? Hold on. It's funny. I'm like, how do I actually figure out where that is? No, that's not it. Let's check foremost Mendy. They play Sunday. Monday? Today? Oh, it's today. That's funny. Sorry, I kept searching a different day. Mendy was... I can't even... Hold on. Oh, here we go. 89%. 42 guesses versus 12. I know that's not 89%, but it was our experts. So he was under 90% on SorareData. Yeah. Goose said, does 100% by league specialist mean all of the specialists predicted him to start? It means that all of so to get high reliability, it means that, and to get 100%, it means that all of the league specialists that made a projection who were in the top 10 of their league projected that that player would either start or be from the bench. Oh, offside. So the Sorare notification ruined us. Oh, come on, Toby. John said, something I'll never understand is people moaning a player DNP'd when he was 90% to start. Lineup predictors. In fact, no one can predict the future, such as an injury in the warm-up. I don't think people complain about those. I think a lot of the complaints are justified. This guy is suspended and he's 100% to start. That's bad. 80% to start is bad. 80% confidence. That looks bad, knowing that somebody is suspended. Blue Tomato said, for the best solution, SorareData should ask the coaches and they should make a sworn statement that their answer is true. We'll get right on that. Yeah. Goose said, specialist system is better than the all user system, but I seem to think most of the specialists knew there was a risk involved, but they had no way to show that on SorareData. So I agree with that. Even though there is a like doubtful notification, and I don't think enough people use that. And maybe that's what we need to do. But we have, like, there are a number of changes I know that are coming soon that I think will make this process significantly easier, including the ability to like see that somebody is either hurt or not. ZM Star says, changing topic, next time you have the Sorare guys on, can you please find out if we got hashtag justice for Finster? Oh, I forgot about Finster. I hope they're doing well. By Bogdan said, a good example that the system works is Marmouche for Frankfurt tomorrow. He returned with an injury from international, and I never would have known without SorareData predictions. So you probably would have known if you had just looked elsewhere. It's that you like learned because you're on SorareData, which is great. That's the point. DN is going to blame me for any DNPs, which is fine. Toby said, can you let predictors tag a player as both starting and doubtful? Is that really that helpful though? Like you really just want to know if there's a doubt. Yeah, to get some nuance. I'm not sure there's nuance. Blue Tomato said the problem with the doubtful button is that when you use it, you have nearly no chance to win the competition, which is true. But also, so that's ultimately what it comes down to, is we want to know if the people who are making the projections think that a player is going to start. And if you use kind of like these experts, it's like, hey, this guy's questionable. Like, do you think he's going to start? And they're like, yeah, I do, but he's not 100%. And there's no, like, I think he's more likely to start than not. And there's no way on SorareData to indicate that. And so people see 100% and they're like, oh, he's 100% to start, or, all the experts think he's going to start. And it could just be that all of the experts think he's more likely to start than not, but like there's a decent chance he doesn't and stuff like that. And so it's like Zinkernagel this week. Like he wasn't locked in to start, but it kind of comes off that way. And if he's right, then, he didn't start. So they were all wrong. But like they all thought he was going to start. Was there a risk? Sure. But the reason they all said they thought he was going to start is because it's more beneficial to them to say he's going to start if he doesn't. So I do think that we need to tweak that. And again, it's like we spend a lot of time like trying to figure out how to improve this whole process, not even just like the calculation, but like what you see today is not going to be what you see in the future, which probably applies to every single thing on SorareData. But I promise that like improvements are coming, even though I think that they're pretty good right now. Andy said, I'll be watching about João Pedro. He's down as 100%, but manager comments today would have him at 50-50. So Andy, he's not 100% to start. Again, it's just like all of the people who did projections think he was going to start. And frankly, were the comments before or after the deadline? I don't even know. Brighton, there we go. I assume that's the João Pedro you're talking about, the Brighton one. 103 guesses that he was going to start, 1 on the bench. Yeah, I don't know when that news came out. Blue Tomato said, so when I know a player is risky, I have to use start or bench. That's if like for the competition. And the answer to that is yes, you do. Malky said maybe tags are better than percentages, like no reason not to start, likely to get minutes, certainly out. I'm not sure how you do that though. Yeah, Blue Tomatoes, the comment section we've long discussed that. Yeah. And pre-written. Yeah, that's, yep. Yeah, and who's this? ECS comment section for the specialists. Yeah, I think the problem is that like sometimes the specialists don't necessarily have the news like when we have it. Like they could be late with it. Yeah, hold on. I massively agree with Malky. So the issue that we have with what a lot of people are looking for, they want people to add comments, they want to be able to say this player is doubtful or he's 60%, is that part of the way you get people to do things like this is make it easy for them. And having to like pick a percentage for every player infuriates people. Not infuriates, but like they can't be arsed doing it. And so ours is like, here are 4 buttons. Click one, please. Move on. Like you can do a starting 11. If you know the team really well and you know that the 11 that are in your head are going to start, you can make that lineup projection in about 10 seconds, depending on how fast your mouse or thumb is. Like that's really helpful for getting people to participate. And the idea is we want as many people participating as possible. And actually, that reminds me about something that I don't know if they would want me to say this, who they are, so I'm not going to. But I was talking about lineup projections with someone about this, and they are doing lineup projections for a certain league that they follow very closely. And they said the way that they look at like community projections, which this is literally are these community projections. The idea is that they're going to share their knowledge of this league with the community by putting in their lineup projections with the hope and expectation that for people who know other leagues that he may not know that much, they are doing the same thing. And so I will trade you my expertise in Denmark for your expertise in Norway or Argentina or Mexico or Austria, wherever. And so the idea is that if enough people who follow these leagues, and not just like one person, because if like what happens to that one person? They get sick, they don't want to do it. They just don't feel like doing it this week. So the idea is if we have enough people who are willing to share their knowledge of the leagues that they follow or the teams that they follow or the players that they follow, then ZMStar says, just say Deke. This wasn't Deke, but Deke's a whole nother story. I'll get to Deke in a second. But the idea is like, if they can share their knowledge, then hopefully they will get the benefit of other people sharing their knowledge, so that when I'm doing my lineups and I was like, I know River Plate pretty well, and so I'll put in my River Plate projections, but I don't really know much about Orenburg in Russia. And so hopefully somebody who is familiar with that league can put in the fact that the one example I used, of course, the player I have has a torn ACL, but I can find out that they're out. And like, that's the point of like a community project like this. Like we all put in something and we all get something out of it. And obviously the competition that you can win cards, you can win SorareData memberships. Like there's a reward for those who are like willing to really put in the work. And I have to say that I was astonished to see this. I actually didn't even know this. Like I knew that they were like really big into lineup projections, but let me see if I can find them here. I noticed it on the Eredivisie one. So Lewis Clark, who is Sorare EFL, who is the Premier League. I apologize if I'm wrong about this, but they do Premier League and English Championship projections for the other lineup projection site, both of them, and participates here. And last month won a star rare and a tier 3 limited from MLS. So they finished 3rd overall in MLS. And then in all of, I'm sorry. That's what they're going to win. They're on track to win this month. Last month, they won a star limited and a tier 1 rare. They were 1st in the Premier League and 2nd overall in Challenger, because they were 1st in the Eredivisie and 4th in the Jupiler League, 10th in Superliga, 8th in like, this is like a tremendous amount of work to do all of this. But like, kudos to them for doing it. Obviously, they're very good. And to be 1st in the Prem with, let me see, 91.84% accuracy, and doing all of the stuff to get like additional bonus, get 19 times got perfect 11 of 11 starters, 4 times got 10 of 10 because maybe there was a unlicensed card, because we only do licensed cards in this competition. But like that's a ton of work, and it's great. And so the idea is that if Lewis Clark 13 here has a lot of cards from Argentina, they can use somebody else's expertise in Argentina who is submitting those projections and benefiting from their lineup. So that's like the idea of the community, while also being able to get prizes like star limiteds and tier 1 rares for doing this work. Deke is the MLS king. Yeah, so like Deke does projections all over the place, including RotoWire, my old employer. I don't know if Deke does them on SorareData. Frankly, I would love it if he did, but also appreciate if he doesn't because he's doing so much work on the other sites. But that's sort of the point of all of this, is just being able to get some information. You know, if you can participate and provide an expertise in a league or a team or a player, there will be an opportunity to have that expertise given back to you in the form of lineup projections from another one. Now, again, I don't think we're there yet. I don't think that everyone who's excellent at lineup projections does them on SorareData. And I think that it's a little daunting to start a competition and consider that you have to do like every single player from every single team in multiple leagues in order to win our top prizes. Obviously, there are people willing to do it. Like they're willing to take the time to go through all of that. And I do think there are ways we can make it easier, and we're talking about it anyway. Andy said, I'm a new Sorare member. Can I get involved with leagues I know? So the easiest way to get involved, Andy, is whatever leagues you do, if you just go to game week here and projected lineups, and you just go in. Now, again, these are only like once the game week locks, you can't change it anymore. But like if you are a La Liga expert, or even if you are just a Betis expert, you can just come in here, go into Betis, and just submit your picks. Now, granted, this is a midweek game, so who knows what the thing is. But like that's it. That's all you have to do. And then all of your stats are publicly available to everyone. You can go and you can see all your successes. I don't know why that's not clicking. There we go. You can see how many you've done, how accurate you are. And even if you don't want to do that, you're not even like an expert on that. On this page, you can just see all of your players. It takes a while to load because it's so many players. But like these are all of the players and a couple commons as well, which actually drives me nuts, but is what it is. So even every game week, if you know that your players are starting, just go in. That's exactly what I did for this past game week. I went in and marked all of the players in my gallery who I thought were starting or not. And I just did it. And it's 400 projections right there. It doesn't make me an expert in any particular, like I'm not a specialist in any league because of that. But the idea is that if enough people start to contribute, the herd expertise is going to take over. Sorry. 69 TW, longtime lurker, longtime predictor on SorareData. Okay, first, thank you very much for watching all this time, particularly live. Thank you for participating in the chat, and big ups for doing the lineup projections. The most infuriating thing I see is suspended players to start. Check Cuiaba, last game, goalkeeper was suspended. Wish there was something to signal it. Totally agree with you. Totally agree. And I can assure you a solution is coming. Hold on. Oh, the suspended players to start. I'll actually add to that is like the suspended players coming back. That drives me nuts. The people are like, oh, he was out last game. He's going to be out again. When it was like, it was clearly just a yellow card suspension and now they're back. But I totally agree with you. And theoretically, if you're a longtime predictor on SorareData, like if you're a specialist, then your vote should be more powerful than others. But I agree. I totally agree. And I promise you we are working on that. Toby said, I like the idea of it. The issue for me is that I've been procrastinating my lineup, so I haven't had time to do the predictions. That sounds like a Toby problem, though. Goose says SorareData benefits significantly from more people participating in the predictions. We all benefit. We benefit because they become more accurate. And the more accurate those become, the better they are for our pick scores. So like, yes, we benefit in that respect. Andy said, and points mean prizes. Yeah. So the more points you score, there's a link. Where is it? Oh, geez. On this page here, like on the lineup projection page, if you just go to how it works, we have this is a Medium post with all of our rules. And then this is a video from me that was actually in the Sorare announcement today, just how they work. Like, I can't even win anything. Oh, I'll add to this. Speaking of things I can't win. Anyone who makes 500 projections in a month, doesn't matter where they are, any 500, and have at least 80% accuracy is entered into a raffle to win SorareData memberships. So like I participate because I know that there are players, like I know some players. I do the Midtjylland one every game week. And I do Copenhagen every game week. And I don't know. I'm assume not in the top. I might have missed a game week. That's why too. Let me see here. Denmark. Superliga 71st. 88% accuracy though. Mickey, I thought you were in this. I say that. Oh, there it is. Mickey Lee Fu's 5th. Won a tier 3. So that's actually so. Yeah. So this is the August one. Mickey Lee Fu here, right here. I met Mickey, I guess, through the Sorare Scandinavia Discord, and he was one of the top predictors during the Euros, along with Toby here, and Mickey won a tier 3 last month, tier 3 limited last month. It was the first time he ever did the predictions, and he finished 5th. And if you notice, if I go back here, whoops, did not mean to go back there. Superliga, there we go. If you notice, like these 3 ahead of him didn't win a reward because they actually won from something else. So this like Zeiler was 2nd in the Danish Superliga, but last month was won a tier 2 limited and a tier 3 rare from something else. Like you can only win a couple. I don't know. But anyway, so like, yeah, Alex said, I wish I had the time to do Prem and Championship projections. Like, Alex, if you just think of like the Prem or Champion, whichever teams that you know really well, then you could bang those out you could bring one team out in literally less than a minute. I was going to say 30 seconds. Bob said 80% accuracy. If you don't want K-League predictions, just say so. K-League's tough, man. It really is. Let's see. Yeah, 75% is like the top. But I don't know anybody else who's like 90%. Blue Tomatoes, who does a ton of them. Can I? Yeah, Blue Tomatoes. I can't. Which one were you doing? Because I know you were. Do you still do a ton of them? I'll be honest, I haven't checked. But anyway, Blue Tomatoes said I would say it takes 15 minutes per champ league. Just Heat said, just curious why so much effort is going into lineup predictions, which are just best guesses, to fix DNPs when subs or rolling locks would solve the problem. I know that's a touchy subject. So rolling locks doesn't solve it. It alleviates some of it, but it doesn't solve it. Late swap solves it, and it also makes the game miserable for a lot of people to play. Blue Tomatoes said Bundesliga. All right. Am I going to embarrass you if I pull up your Bundesliga projections or success? That's really what I want to see. I guess we didn't have much last month. I say that. I'm going to embarrass Blue Tomatoes, and they finished 5th, and won a tier 2 limited. And before you ask, I don't know when the rewards are getting distributed. So yeah, Blue Tomatoes was 5th in Bundesliga. 90%. That's pretty good because it includes like all of the stuff after, like coming into the season, like game week 1 is like tough to get right. Oh, and you want a Delict. Look at that. Let's go. Actually, didn't know those were already out. Garassi is back. Okay. Oh, Bob Franklin said, I got my reward for August yesterday. Great. Good. 69 TW. I will add, you think that's Tiger Woods? I will also add that there's a big problem with teams with less than 11 starter players. That's the most optimal, is just to put everyone to start when in doubt. The zinc to start is a byproduct of it. Hold on. So this is teams that have fewer than 11 minted players, because we only I mean, we only care about minted players, right? Anyway, the most optimal is to just put everyone to start when in doubt. Because if you're wrong, it's not so prohibitive. You mean? Immediately sold them. Let's go, Blue Tomatoes. Now that's an in-season delict that he sold. $25. Sorry to expose your wallet there, Blue Tomatoes. But there you go. Won this card. Sold it for, what was it, $25? Somewhere in here. There it is. All for doing lineup projections. For just the Bundesliga. Just Heat said, what about subs rolling locks makes the game play miserable? Just curious. So subs don't make it miserable. It just makes it more expensive, which then benefits bigger galleries, bigger budgets. Rolling locks, I actually don't think, again, rolling locks, I don't think makes it miserable. I think if the game week started, like if each competition started when, or let's even say an hour before the first game, like I think it's fine. Late swap is when you have to be on top of your lineups all weekend long. And a lot of lineups for me come out when I'm sleeping, and I don't want to wake up to deal with Sorare lineups in the middle of the night. And I appreciate there are people who are like, well, you just don't have to do it. And it's like, I'm not going to do something that's like completely suboptimal versus other people who are doing it. I just, yeah, I want no, like no part of it. Johnny said, I heard you do all the NBA, MLB, and football, Laird. How about UFC and making a scoring matrix and the strategies towards it when turning into Sorare, applying certain scoring stats to your cards? When competing, like instead of attachment of captain, it would be other things to apply. I don't know anything about UFC, so I can't really speak on that. Goose said, I think 5 nuanced opinions can be more helpful to people than 5,000 black or white opinions. Yeah, I mean, we kind of agree, but obviously we're not adding in the nuance yet. Goose said, I don't benefit from more people telling me Zinc will start. I would benefit from 5 people telling me they aren't fully confident in him starting. So I think when you start to build that in, though, is would you rather have 5 people say that they're confident he's going to start, or they think he's going to start, or one person telling you that who knows? And I'm not saying it's like the one person because it's an expert somewhere else, but I think fewer people participate when you add in more steps to submit. Like we were just saying, Blue Tomato said, I can do an entire champion league in 15 minutes. And who was that before? Was it Andy? Not Black. Yeah, Andy. And he was saying, how long does it take to put it in? And like, it's hard to get new people to start if you're like, yeah, it just takes 20 minutes a team and you're set. Like nobody's going to do that. Polly Pie won a tier 1 in MLB this week. Nice little Matt Olson added. That's awesome. Congratulations. Let's go. Late swap is basically rivals. Yeah, I mean, I totally understand why. I'm not going to go down the DNP conversation again because we've done that so many times, and I've yet to hear a solution that doesn't make me want to just quit Sorare. But it's not for me. I'm in the boat that like DNPs are part of the game and late swap is a terrible solution to it. And subs, I think, is fine. Like I don't think they help people as much as they think they do. Or I think that there are enough people on the platform who know how to take advantage of basic sub rules that it ends up being actually a net negative to most users. And like the sub thing is always presented like a new, like most users would benefit from this and want this, blah, blah, blah. And it turns out like again, I'm not going down this, but there was I don't even remember what show it was. Sean and I went through this. It was basically like all about how bigger galleries or people who are better at this game can take advantage of late swap and subs. And if you're somebody who's casual in this game, you are at a tremendous disadvantage when subs and late swap are introduced. That's all I got. Somehow I got to get in a decisive from Evian. Let's see. They're on 47 and 40. So they're cooking, though. Yeah. Get zinc on at halftime or after halftime. Anyway, that's all I got. I think this was a really great week for Sorare. If you hadn't gone back and checked out all of the content on this channel, I would love it if you did. What did we do this week? Monday was Sean and Nep. That was a really good show about classic Sorare. And if anybody wants that discussion, I thought that one was really good. Quinny and Harry were on, was that Tuesday? Yeah, it was Tuesday. Talking about collections and how we spent money and why most of it we just lit on fire. Wednesday was the show with Guy and Tolga. Again, check that one. If you're going to watch one, watch that one. And then yesterday we opened up a bunch of cards with Harry and Jimmer. That was me and Andy did. And yeah. And then obviously you were already watching this show. So thank you to everybody for coming. If you could please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny. And yeah, good luck on your lineups this weekend. Good luck if you haven't opened your early access cards. Good luck on all your pulls. And I'll be back next week with just more and more content.